mom is going on a trip for around 10 days. And before she goes on trips, she makes a lot of food. And on the last day, she's in a rush, just running around, doing a lot of things, and making a bunch of different food, having a bunch of useless people in the house. And I'm in the kitchen as her assistant, and she goes full Gordon Ramsay, and I'm doing this thing and then doing that thing, and before any of these finish, there's a new task, and then while there's a lineup of tasks that you would naturally attend to chronologically by order of them being put in, she puts in the last task, and then while she's and then she yells at you for not having finished the last one. She's like, "Oh, you didn't do anything," but that was the most recent thing you told me. There, I'm doing all these other things that you told me. So I'm like, "Yes, chef." It's cute, and um, it is. It's nice, but it kind of is like always when she's packing like this to go on a trip and making a bunch of food. There's an air of like, what if she dies and doesn't come back? And this will be the last time I said, like, this is the last moment, and also this is the last home cooked meal that she has made, and then she's gonna be dead, and me and my father and brothers are gonna be at home dying in our own way, and just not knowing what to do with the food, and probably having a somber dinner of tasting her cooking for the last time before this batch of food finishes. So that's an illness. Okay, so that was the intro. But I was sitting over her suitcase and putting the stuff in her suitcase and folding the stuff and placing them, and the strategy of this is and like distributing the weight, laying the stuff down in the foundation, putting some like food items, things to snack on, medicine, cleansers, and like a lot of cleaning products and all that, and like the towels and the sheets and the clothes and what are you gonna need, and then it kind of by muscle memory and by being there, it kind of jogged my memory, and I wasn't feeling great, but I didn't realize why. I was something's off. And then I realized what was off. The thing that was off was that the last time I had seen this scene of putting a suitcase together was when I was waiting for a visa and to go to Italy to study in Milan for sustainable management. And I didn't buy leather winter boots, and it's midwinter, and I didn't buy leather winter boots because I thought I would get them in Milan. And so the packing of suitcases and unpacking them was happening at the end of summer, when you would expect it to be. So during summer, I did everything that I needed to do, like did all the doctor's appointments and met all the people and did all the packing and all the decluttering and just gave away a bunch of stuff and said goodbye to all these things. And I was so ready. And it all worked out perfectly because right before I get an admissions letter, the company that I worked in that had a like sustainability premise that it wasn't excellent, but I liked it, and it was something, and it was some money. That kind of closed, and I was translating a book that finished. A relationship was kind of coming to certain terms. I was so ready. And then I didn't hear back until classes started. And I was, when I first received my acceptance email, I responded in probably the most unprofessional way that one could, just screaming in the email, saying, "Yes, I'm so excited, I'm so grateful, this is excellent, wow, yay, onwards." So I was very onwardly oriented, and believe me, you may not, but during this entire process, I was such a good girl. I was so demure. I was so demure. I was so patient, did not go into the pit. I sometimes sat by the pit. I sometimes flirted with the pit and I looked at it, but I did not go into it. I didn't even think about going into it. I was fine. I was accepted. I was a stoic. I still am stoic. This is a stoicism. Accepting things and like no, I'm like not enough. So I was very stoic when I was not receiving my visa, when I had received like permission for pursuing education, and it's Italy. It's not prestigious. It's not academically gifted. It's Italy. Like, and the university was not even Italian, it was Swiss, but the Milan campus was easier, like cheaper, so better. Any moron went to Italy. It's the IQ in that country is going to be so low in a few years when these people repopulate. And then I got a notice, like visa rejection, and then I had 10 days to put together documents, and then I ran around putting together documents, and I started attending classes online, so via live streaming, and I was live streaming classes, and I was waiting for visa, and I didn't have any clothes because everything was in the suitcase, and I gave everything else away, and I was running around getting the new documents to respond to the concerns. Like, one of the reasons for my rejection was that the purposes of my visa request were not clear, something like that. And then I was rejected, and then I didn't know what to do, and then there was a lot of confusion in the relationship and just all friends and people aspect of what was going on, and the visa got rejected. And the day I got the final rejection letter, I was so happy. I was so relieved. I was so relieved. And I am Racco that way with ideas of anything that comes your way is meant for you and everything is unfolding for the ultimate best of your growth as a person, and you could learn the lesson that's here. And I do mean it, and I do believe it. I'm not gaslighting myself into it. I am angry that I should have been doing finals now, and I should have been turning in projects now. I should not have been having to deal with all of that cooking and all of that family drama and relatives crap. Like, that whole thing when you have like a clan of people attached. You're actually attached to the clan of people and they exist, and by simple existence they take up a huge portion of your hard drive by vicinity. And I was so happy that I was not gonna hear about someone's like 4 layers of relatives away and news in their lives. And now I do. And now that is something that I think about. That is something that takes up space in my mind. That I know my grandfather's cousin's wife had some had some, like, ate something bad and had stomach issues. That is information that I have that I wish I didn't. I would like to give that information back to the universe and receive all of the information that I was supposed to, that I was going to, that was our deal about how to manage businesses sustainably so that is in harmony with the natural resources, the people, and the profits and the planet and the bleh. It was so annoying because I was live streaming class, and that was I knew that was really frustrating. And again, I was so strong. I was so strong and so cool and chill. I was such a cool girl. While there were like 10 people in class and I was in a laptop and I was the only one, or there was like in some classes there was another girl, and this is annoying me, this part of her. They charged astronomically for their tuition, and they didn't have like proper speakers for the teachers for the first 2 weeks. So I attended classes like that before my visa got definitively rejected for 4 weeks. I attended classes for 4 weeks, 2 of which I didn't hear anything. And what I did, I was like, I kept telling myself, this is your right. And I kept interrupting class saying, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I get like PTSD with that. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat that, please? Can you, excuse me, can you turn the laptop, please, so I can see the class? I'm sorry, excuse me, could you like walk up to the front of the class and speak into the laptop so I can hear you? So these were very interactive classes, so I had students get up, walk to the forward of the class, and say their comments loudly. And I was constantly interrupting professors, and they were very genteel. they were so nice, and thinking that if there had been the short fused, cranky professors of my bachelor's days would not have had that, and some specific ones that I'm thinking about would have crashed the shit out of the laptop. But these people, no matter how much I interrupted them, when they were on a roll, when they were connecting with their class, when they were delivering their material, they were doing their whole performance, and I was just there. Excuse me? Excuse me? Could you repeat that, please? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that, but sorry, you were muted. Can you turn the laptop around? I'm sorry, you're not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Could you I'm so sorry for it. I just can't hear. I did not catch what you were saying. Excuse me, could you please share the slides on screen as well? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you, and also can you change the slides? Thank you. Yes, now I can hear you. Yeah. Yeah, it's clear. Thank you. Yeah, well, I have an idea, and then I like going to share a comment, and it was funny because at times I would be repeating something that somebody had said, or I would interrupt someone who was talking in class because I couldn't hear anything, and this went on for a while, and a good portion, like over half of the time that I did spend in live streaming. And I'm not gonna get into about the scam that they pulled on me, because it is very clearly stated that if student is not able to attend because visa refusal, then refund. But they were like, oh, you started classes though, so no refund for you, which not that legal. And then so me, who, so this is the life that was imagined: sustainable management, independence, life, living on own, and the whole package of cooking for yourself, caring for the environment around you, just just being on your own. I really want to be on my own. Okay, I'm gonna get into that. What? Ooh, leather boots. So vintage leather boots, Italian vintage leather boots on the side, and learning of sustainable management here, which in itself is like a whole different other conversation about like why would it's so niche that there are really not that many people. It's really not that many. It's not a abundance of opportunities kind of thing, like data science. So living alone, independence, leather boots, learning about sustainable management, career in sustainable management, meeting my friend who's in Europe, who I really miss, and like getting a job, and then onwards. So this Milan and Italian boys, just for beauty. Legal feud with a school who's not refunding me, visa rejection, no purpose in life. I don't even know what happened in the past 3 months. Negotiations with companies and with groups and with like people who to just like convince them that sustainability is a thing. No boots, so sneakers through winter. Spending a good amount of time every day with the people and the kitchen and the much food for not me but for like the community, which is not a bad thing. This is not something I'm against, it's just something that was not planned. Having best friend take the biggest dump that they could on me and just yeeting out of my life, and taking with them a business idea that we had together, that we were supposed to work on together, taking it with them. No phone because doesn't make sense to buy a phone because no price because sanctions, and whether that is the most toxic thing that has ever been inhaled. So you can't also really go outside to work out and take mental health walks. So no, not education and not career and not job and money and not independence and no leather boots that are vintage and Italian. So these are the two. So stuckness. This was on wars. This is a stuckness. Movement and momentum. Lethargy and confusion and I wouldn't say hopelessness, but like darkness, kind of, and just general pain with people. So, and very few Italian boys. Hardly any Italian boys. So, if it were a planet, treasure planet moment where they were sitting and there were all these planets and it was amazing and fantastic, and they would click on a planet and go to it. So instead of not that planet, nope, this planet is the one that I am inside in, and they click on it and I find myself within that reality. Being stuck. But through it all, I've been such a good girl. Especially in the last month, I have been waking up early every morning and having like a 2-3 hour morning routine with the whole package, with the movement and the meditation and the teachings and the readings and the writings and the skin and the body and the water and the ginger shots, and then getting to deep work and then doing some focused deep work And then taking regular walks, losing weight, feeling good about myself and in my body, and doing the regularity and the discipline thing and the building of it, and sending applications and applying for jobs and universities, and sometimes pit of this, like, so when we say pit, we know what we're talking about. But not really, but not all, not, I wouldn't take a dive in it and go for a swim. I would not say that I'm a diver of the pit, but I am an occasional enjoyer on the beach. I acknowledge the pit. And then suddenly getting hit with understanding of time and what it means to be subject to it in this reality and time space conundrum where you have a body and you live inside of it. So and this is like within the matrix and the chart of time, so space and then time and the other thing here, so you can't exit to the fourth dimension. You're in there where time is a thing, and then you're subject to time. And as I realize that my body is subject to time, sciatica, and then also suddenly realizing that money and house and children and husband and killer body and amazing voice and all the skills and the books are not gonna just happen via fairy godmother, but through actions that I gotta be taking. But then I did take actions, and what that got me was rejection of visa. I'm still happy. I'm not unhappy about my visa getting unrejected. I'm happy about being stuck. I'm unhappy about being stuck, which I would say is possibly the worst state of existence. And I can prove this physically, theologically, spiritually, thermodynamically, because, okay, so so this is how this thing works with existence and life and consciousness and human having life and existing and heart pumping. So as you have these systems that are constantly working in harmony of the pumping of the heart and the breathing of the chest, it's so beautiful. You gotta watch someone asleep. You see the vein and the chest. It's a whole thing. And then all of the sub divisions of those regarding all of all the guts and the brain and all of those. The brain should probably be higher in my system. Maybe that's why. Maybe if I did not neglect brain in my, so that I did, this was not premeditated. I just went breathing and blood, guts, eyes, brain. So maybe if I gave a higher value to brain, my visa wouldn't get rejected. But anyway, so it's everything is moving all the time. A lack of movement is death. So existence of river is has meaning in motion, and then existence of life has meaning in motion, existence of meaning. And then this is kind of why Sisyphus would probably at some point it would click for him, because when you repeat emotion, the initial understanding of the motion just kind of fades away, and then you realize, so I would not be repeating this motion anymore, but I would start to comprehend, try to do any motion that you can physically continue for a few minutes. Do this for as long as it takes, like a few minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, for you to forget what this act is, and then you forget about the act, and then you comprehend motion. And then when there's just motion and it is devoid of form, so you forget about this form and you just have the motion, you kind of find meaning or assign meaning or feel meant in the essence of motion. And this is a Japanese acting or like body awareness technique, which I the name of which I do not remember. Hokari chi, something Japanese sounding. It's like when you repeat a word enough times, it loses its meaning. So if you say chair, 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 it just kind of stops being chair, and then it's a funny sound that you're making, and it no longer embodies the chairness or no longer reminds you of chair. It just is a thing, and you don't know what's happening anymore. And within that delirium, new stuff start to happen. There's a notion or sentiment that people are never satisfied. You're always looking for something. You shouldn't really be banking your entire concept of happiness on getting a house or a visa, but it is in the nature of existence and of human and of the heart of human and of love, of how it works, is that you have one measure of it working, or one of its functions is that you are as creature in a never-ending cycle of object of desire, movement to achieve object of desire, satisfaction, so settling down. So in the thermodynamic sense, the people who know thermodynamics would have to take on the task of translating it in those terms. So upon achieve the object of desire, settle down, merge into it. The life that you're living right now is the life that you dreamed of whenever. And after a period of settlement, find new object of desire. So, do you see the movement that is constantly happening? When that doesn't happen, you're dead. That is that point of, don't just be alive. Live your life. Don't just be living. Be alive. You gotta make every moment count. And you gotta, what? Carpe diem it. Or, like, you know, and then presence in the moment. And awareness of your breath. So all of this kind of has to do with the onward essence of existence. So life doesn't really give a shit about the moment that passed, but it just pretty much the only thing that life cares about is its own existence, and in that sense it's kind of a selfish bitch, but not really, because well, you're not the boss, I'm not the boss, life is the boss, and life demands to be lived. So if I put up a fight against that, then I'm an idiot, and I'm just like digging my own grave, or sawing off the branch I'm sitting on, and just like swimming against the current, and then being like, oh, this is hard. Bitch, no, it doesn't have to be. Just face the current, flow with it. So in flowing with it, you gotta be not stuck. What to do? See, this is exactly what this. Okay. My mom was going on a trip, and I was packing her suitcase, and then there I was sitting, feeling dizzy and vomity. Remembering the last suitcase, really, that I was sitting over and packing and making sure it's below 40 kilograms, and then unpacking that suitcase and going from onward, not even backward. Backward is good. Stuck is the worst thing ever. Yeah. So it's not completely, because, well, breath and pumping of blood, but still, yeah. You gotta put the brain to work, because if not, brain attacks self. Danger. Yeah. So, Sisyphus, because motion and movement and the whole Karichi thing and thermodynamics and waves and rivers and essence of existence and life being a selfish bitch, only caring about itself and kind of designing everything to serve it and its continuation, no matter how much it hurts for everyone involved. Yeah. Thank you.